everybody, welcome back to Jack Frost Garden Talks. Today we're going to be talking about edible figs. In particular, we're looking at the brown turkey fig. Fig is botanically known as Ficus carica, and the brown turkey fig isn't named after an animal. It's actually named after the region where brown turkey fig is grown. Ficus is the botanical name for fig, meaning edible fig, and then carica is represented by the town that the brown turkey fig comes from. But yeah, native to the Mediterranean, beautiful fruiting plant. The brown turkey fig is hardy in zones 5 through 11, meaning that it has excellent cold tolerance. It can survive temperatures down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit without taking any significant damage. In warmer zones like 9 through 11, they do prefer a little bit of afternoon shade, and that keeps the leaves from burning and the fruit from being diminished. The brown turkey fig is a sprawling, spreading tree that can get up to 15 to 25 feet tall and wide, with a canopy that can be as low as 1 foot off the ground if left untrained. Now, you can cut these and train them to any size or shape you want. They really bounce back very easily from pruning. Just remember that they're going to need a lot of room for their branches and their roots to grow outward. The leaves themselves are glossy green. The top of them has like a sandpapery texture to them, and the bottom is a white tomatose. Now we're getting into one of the best times of the year to plant a fig tree, and that would be either in the spring or the fall. But when thinking of a spot to put your tree, you want to make sure that it's going to have enough space for it to grow outward, and you want to put it in a sunny location. That means at least 8 hours of sunlight a day. Another thing to remember when selecting a site is to make sure that your soil that you choose is rich in organics, loamy, moist but not heavy, and has good drainage. They'll adapt to mostly anything except for alkaline soils and standing water. The brown turkey fig produces fruit twice a year, in the spring and in the fall, more so though in the fall. Some edible fig varieties require a fig wasp for pollination. The brown turkey fig does not. The fig itself is an inverted cluster of flowers that pollinates itself, so it doesn't require any pollination. Now, when the fig ripens, it goes from this glossy light green color to a pinkish rusty brown color, and the fig will start to become a little bit more like mushy. Not mushy, but softer. And when you open it up, the inside of it is like a cream to pink, and the texture and flavor is like an overripe juicy peach, in my opinion. They're wonderful. Now, you can eat these figs alone or with a salad. But here in the South, we make a fruit spread out of it, and we call that fig butter. A general rule of thumb for fig trees is to give them at least 1 to 1.5 inches of water per week. That's just for when they start getting established. Once they're established, they usually are pretty self-sufficient as long as they're getting enough water in that area. You'll be able to tell if they're not getting enough water because the leaves will start to turn yellow and they'll start to drop. That's when you want to go in and start, doing some supplemental watering. Now, you just want to make sure that you're not overwatering because they don't like wet feet. So just kind of track that and make sure that they're not getting too much water. If they're getting too much water, you'll start to see the branches actually lean over and droop. A great way to help with moisture retention is to do a mulch ring underneath your fig tree. Now, when I say mulch, I mean like at least 3 inches because that's going to help retain the most water. And you want that ring to extend to the outside of the canopy. The best time to fertilize your fig tree is in the spring when the plant is actively growing. Now, you want to avoid high nitrogen fertilizers. On your NPK, that's the first one. So you want that number to be either equal to the second two or lower than the second two. If it's high nitrogen, then you'll see a lot of leafy growth without any fruiting. So low nitrogen, higher phosphorus, higher potassium, you're going to see nice fruiting coming through. And you want to do that in the early spring so you get a fresh fruit crop in the spring and an excellent fresh fruit crop in the fall. Now, it takes about 3 to 5 years for the fig to actually start producing ripe fruit. But once it's established, the fig tree will live for up to 200 years and provide fruit for you and your family for generations. Some great medical properties about the fig tree and the fig itself is the fig is high in fiber. It's a great antioxidant. It's got a great amount of nutrients. It's a weight loss supplement, and it's a immune system booster. The edible fig doesn't really have very many pest problems, but unhealthy trees can develop some kind of pest diseases such as aphids, spider mites, and scale. A great way to prevent that is early season prevention by using a systemic pesticide. And then as the growing season continues, switch to organic and use neem oil or soapy water. It's a great contact kill for these insects without hurting your plants or damaging your fruit. A few diseases that can attack your fig plants are fig mosaic, leaf blight, and fig rust. These diseases are foliar and they can be controlled by neem oil or another mineral oil, but to get the best defense, you really want to go down to a cellular level. By adding a few key ingredients to your soil can really help strengthen your plants. Adding magnesium, calcium, and silica to your soil will help strengthen the cell wall and provide a better defense against diseases. Pruning the edible fig can be done in many ways to achieve the desired size and shape. They're very forgiving of pruning, but you want to do that when the plant is dormant. Usually in late winter, you can go in and start to prune things down. Now, if you're growing a shrub style, you can cut that down to 6 inches with selected canes, and then you'll have a good resurgence in the spring. If you want to keep it a tree form, you still want to cut back your branches by 1/3 to encourage new growth. A good thing to remember about edible figs is they only fruit on new wood, so be mindful of that when you're pruning. Now, the edible fig can be propagated very easily. In the growing season, you just simply take one of the lower branches that are close to the soil, bury a couple of nodes, and keep that spot nice and moist. And within a month, there'll be roots there. You can just clip that branch away from the mother plant and pot it into a new separate container, and you've got a whole new fig. In the dormant season, you can do something similar. You'll have these canes that'll be bare. You just take about a 6 to 8 inch section, cut that off, and then scrape the cambium on the last 2 inches, dip that in a rooting hormone like Hormodium 3, and then put that in a container with perlite and peat moss, and keep it nice and evenly moist, and you should see rooting as well. Cambium is the outer layer of the plant. Most people consider that the bark. That's like a protective layer on the skin of the plant. When you scrape that away, it exposes new cell growth, and those new cells turn into whatever cell they need to. And in this case, if kept moist, they'll turn into roots. We've got a bunch of figs here at Jack Frost, and like I said, it's a great time to be putting them in the ground. Fall is one of the best times to be putting them in to have a great fruiting in the spring. Please stop by and see us. Come check out these new figs that we've got. We've got plenty to go around. If you like this video, please like and subscribe.